Hey, this is LaShawn. You checking out I Got Soul.com.
As part of Sista, how were you originally discovered by DeVante?
Well, basically, Timbaland discovered me at the Hampton Coliseum in Virginia. I was a solo act, and Sista had been lost a member or something, and I was singing before Mary J. Blige, Shabba Ranks, TLC, and Bobby Brown concert. And the show was delayed, so they called some girls up on stage, and I think I just arrived. I thought I had missed the show, like the opening part of the show, but I guess I was right on time. So all my friends had pushed me up on stage, so I sung a song and had a standing ovation, and Timbaland happened to be in the crowd. And after the show was over, we kind of crossed paths at the McDonald's outside of Hampton Coliseum, and he asked me, was I the girl singing? And I told him yes. So he's like, well, I work with Sista, Jodeci's girl group. Would you be interested in joining the group? So that's how I came about the Sista.
Okay, cool. Now take me back to Sista's debut album. What do you remember about recording that album? And what was the whole process like?
The process, it was very interesting. You know how when you first get a record deal, you do it for the love of it, and then it becomes a job. The pressure. They got to meet the deadlines. But we had a lot of fun. We recorded our album out of our apartment in New Jersey,
Yeah.
and then we went to Landover, Maryland, and laid it down in the studio when DeVante had rented out a little spot down there in Maryland. We had our album Genuine, Player, Sister, so we knocked it out pretty quick. So it was just trying to get the work done. But it was exciting. It was new. We were ready. We were young. So it was really, 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 really good experience.
Okay, cool. Now, you guys had the single Brand New, but unfortunately the album eventually didn't get a chance to come out. Why do you feel the album didn't come out?
Well, basically, it wasn't because when our party, it was Jodeci was having that little spat amongst themselves, and as we were on our promotional tour, they were doing their tour. So when their plans fell through, ours kind of fell through too, because we were about to do the Dangerous Mind soundtrack with Michelle Pfeiffer and Coolio, and we had just recorded a song with Craig Mack. We had collabed with Bad Boy, and plans just fell through. Just Jodeci broke up. The whole camp really broke up.
Oh, okay. Now, take me through a day in the life of the Basement, because, a lot of people, we've spoken to a lot of members of the Basement, and they've given their perspectives, so, just take me through a day.
A day of the Basement crew. Well, we all sat around, we sang, we were young, everybody was talented, there was nothing but singing going on around there, I remember Static from Player, he used to whistle, be whistling tunes, and then other parts of the member of the Basement would join in with harmonies. It was just fun and had a good time. It was a good atmosphere, Me, I had good memories. There were some bad memories, but overall, to me, it was very, very good memories. I can remember when the rollerblades first came out, and we were all trying to get in shape. We would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and meet at a park and go roller skating, rollerblading, playing basketball. We used to always be down in basketball.
Okay.
We had fun. It was really fun for us. We were young, away from home, and just doing what we love to do, sing.
Yeah, definitely. And just out of curiosity, because I know Sista was one of the earlier acts, did it ever make you feel a certain way that while you guys were signed to DeVante, he continued to add, different members to the Basement?
Well, to me, it didn't bother me in the beginning because I just felt that he was sharing his musical genius with the world, and he had an idea of what he wanted his company to be, but it kind of took the focus off of us. The focus was there. We were the first group released off the Basement crew, but it wasn't, the attention that was supposed to be put on us wasn't all that because his attention was spread out so much. You understand what I'm saying? It was like, okay, we're doing Sister's project, but we got to squeeze Genuine in somewhere. It was always, other people, but, I loved it because it was family-oriented, but it was business-wise, it could have been handled differently, but I think he had something good. He just, just didn't turn out the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, definitely. And, speaking of Static, we're actually huge fans of his writing, so can you just talk to me a little bit about what it was like working with Static?
Oh, man, he was like my little brother. They were from Kentucky. We were kind of like a little older than they were. And Static was cool. He used to come over to the apartment and we used to just write songs and harmonize. He was just a good soul. He always had a smile on his face. And I remember Steve just sitting around singing, man. That's all I can say, man. We used to just sit around, sing, harmonize, and just have fun.
Yeah.
Just dream of that day that our music be once, shown to the world.
Yeah. So just talk about the end of the basement for you guys. What eventually happened? Because there's been some speculation that you guys were actually the first to leave the basement. Can you just clear that up?
Well, like, we were young, and we had put blood, sweat, and tears in our projects, and we just got discouraged at the end, basically. We all had our own lives before the basement and Jodeci, and, like, some of us stayed back in New York. Missy stayed back doing little things. I went to certain projects with her, with Aaliyah. We were on the Aaliyah, If Your Girl Only Knew set, the video shoot was going to be in that, but, we tried to do different things, and things just didn't work out, and I had kids. I was young. I was the only one with kids, so I just decided to come back home. It just didn't work out. We just got discouraged, that's all.
After leaving the basement, were you guys still a group, or did you guys break up because after leaving the basement?
Well, from when we first broke up, we always made that pact, Sister will always be forever. One got put on, the other got put on. I can remember going into the record label, Cheryl Connigsburg. She was a lady working with Jodeci at the time. She was like, LaShawn, stuff is about to hit the fan. A lot is about to go on. I really think you should do a solo project, blah, 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 blah. And she took me to a record company. She snuck me to a meeting with Busta Rhymes people in Salt and Pepper. And I actually turned that record deal down because they didn't want Sista on board. And I felt we made a pact. If one got put on, all got put on, and I didn't feel comfortable taking it. So at that point, we were a group. But at another point, Missy ended up taking hers. And it was like she had already had writing credibility with different artists. So that's when the groups kind of really started shying away from one another because, our attentions were in different scenarios. And I was kind of upset because I turned down my solo deal. But it is what it is, But at the time, we were a group when we first broke apart. But then, other things happened. People started going, different directions.
Yeah, definitely. And since then, now it's 2012. During that time period, were you still trying to pursue a music career, or did you just take a step back from that?
Well, like, when I came home, when I left New York, I left Puffy's house, Daddy's house, I was doing some work out of there. I just came home, tried to regroup, got my kids, raised them, but I was still doing music. Missy used to call me all the time, hey, LaShawn, I just signed to a record deal. And I'm like, okay, great. She was like, hey, guess what? I just signed a co-write to a record deal. Hey, that's great. But what about your group? It was never no type of collab with Sista. So what I started doing was doing solo projects. Like, I've done mad underground music. I was working on the lab recordings. I remember when E2 Hollywood Story did my interview, I brought them to where I was recording out of. I got a lot of music. My kids do music, so I still do music. A lot of people like me to ghostwrite on on their stuff, and I give pointers, and I try to, teach what I've learned through the business. So I still do music to this day. I just released a song on YouTube. It's a dedication to Sister Jodeci and the Bassment crew. It's basically a song saying it's me again, and it's basically me stating how, some time has passed, and I would love to see them, and it's just a song dedicated to them, actually.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like now you're really trying to push forward with that music dream again. Why do you feel like now is the right time?
Well, I always thought Sista, Jodeci, and the Bassment crew was premature. Our music, if you notice, a lot of things that Tim do, Missy do, and Jimmy Wan and Play, and other people who left the Bassment crew, our music still lives on. It's like almost as if, we were before our time. And to this day, like I said, my kids are into music now. So I have a 22-year-old and a 21-year-old who are pursuing their music career. So I try to guide them in the right direction. And I do, like I said, I've been doing music for all these years, and people just like, why are you trying to get a record deal? I was like, well, I really don't want to be an artist. I just want to be, ghostwriter. I want to be out there, I just want people to hear my music, my lyrics, because I feel like I never had the chance to show the world LaShawn, before Sista, and I have that love of music, and I just love music, and that's what I do. If it wasn't for music, I wouldn't be LaShawn. I try to put it on hold. I try to forget about it, but hey, People still love my music. I still got the ability and the talent God gave me, so why not push it? And basically, it's not really for me, it's for my fans, because those are the ones who keep, when can we hear something from you? When are you going to release something? Well, I basically released that song on YouTube for my fans because they hit me up on Facebook all the time. They love to hear something from you. So that's basically why I'm doing it now, because the love is still there. I still got a little fan base, and I really think that my music is good, and the world should hear it.
Yeah, definitely. And, speaking of the fan base, it's always interesting because to this day, a lot of people still talk about the Basement, even though none of the music that you guys put out actually was released. So how do you kind of explain the fact that everyone is still talking about the Basement?
I just think we had something. DeVante saw it, a long time ago. We still have talent. Don't go away. The business to me nowadays is all about who you know. I mean, the talent is there, but it's not no real singing. And the people who've heard our music, even when it was underground, they could feel it. Whatever we did, it came from the soul, and you can feel it. It's not, those hip-hop beats, those rap beats. It's singing. It's lyrical. And I think we left a little impression on the world. And I just want to give a little bit back to those who still are supporting me and the Sista and the Jodeci and the Basement movement. I think, I thought we were forgotten about until Facebook came about. Facebook networking is what's the word I think describe it with? It's amazing because it's connecting me with fans, people, the Basement crew, everybody. And that's basically where I'm hearing that they're still interested in the Basement.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe you were trying to get something done for a TV show or a book. Can you kind of talk about that?
I really don't want to put too much out there, but I'm in the process of writing a book. My life. Like I said, I dated Casey. We have a 13-year-old son together. He was premiered on one of the Casey and JoJo show, Comes Clean shows. It's just a lot of history back behind my life that people still ask me all types of questions. I basically get tired of repeating those questions over and over. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of what they want, a little insight of my life, what I experienced. It wasn't just Missy or just Genuine or just Timbaland. It was the Basement. It was Sista. It was more members in the group. And they're only hearing, Missy's side and how she felt. It was 4 girls. And I'm trying to inspire Radia and Shanita to speak out also because, we were not just pretty faces. And I've read in magazines and I've heard on interviews where, we were basically referred to as just pretty faces. And I was the lead singer. I was the one who did all the leading on the stage. So basically it's just to get my voice heard, for me, for my satisfaction, for my pleasure, and my basically, like I said, my kids are singing, and they're awesome. My son has released some of his stuff on his Facebook, and he's about to do his YouTube. But they're talented, and I just want the world to see that also. And what I've learned out the business, how it instilled in my kids, and, that I haven't stopped. It's just, it's just coming.
Yeah, very
so
true.
That's basically why I'm writing the book.
Cool. Just speaking of DeVante, there's been a lot of different opinions about DeVante and how he handled the Basement. So, just overall now, looking back at it, how do you think DeVante handled that whole Basement situation? And, what do you think of him as just a producer?
Well, I've always been kind of the one who's been on his side because DeVante was a genius. If it wasn't for DeVante, a lot of people wouldn't have had their chances to even be a part of the Basement crew. DeVante, he had his ways. He was very stern and strict, but he had a vision. And we were part of that vision, and that respect has always been there. Just musically, he could have handled certain situations differently, true indeed, but, he had a lot of lives in his hands. He had a lot of people looking up to him and depending on him, and I think he did a good job. He just got, the Jodeci thing kind of deterred him. He's trying to handle so many careers and situations, he just got sidetracked, man, and I don't fault him. I don't blame him. I don't hate him. I still chat with him to this day when I talk to him. Hey, how you doing, DeVante? He's like, LaShawn, you're going to be okay because you got talent. That's what he always told me. So, I love DeVante to this day. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Yeah. And, that's all that I had for you. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Well, basically, I just wanted all our fans to know that, we enjoy being Sista. I wish it could have lasted longer. I wish, things would have ended up differently. but I still got love for the basement. It was the best part of my life, you know, sitting back thinking, remembering on those days. And I just know that I used to think that I was a failure, but that's why I'm writing my book, too, because there's a lot of kids that get discouraged. I just want to let them know that if you keep pushing, you know, you're going to make it. You know, don't let anybody deter you. I just want to say hello and, you know, to the basement crew that I love them. You know, just let them know that I love them. Will always have a place in my heart for them.